Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Nothing's Off the Table. I'm your host, Hollywood, and I bring to you another episode. I want to thank everybody. I want to start off by saying thank everybody for liking, subscribing, and watching my previous content, my previous episodes. And I just want to thank you. I want to thank everybody for all the support that they've been giving me. Anybody who's liked, anybody who's subscribed, anybody who's just watched my videos. I just want to thank you all because it does take time. My last video was 30 minutes. My first video was 30 minutes. The second video was 20, and I just want to thank y'all because all the feedback I've been getting back has just been like amazing. I can't even believe it. So I just want to thank y'all for all of that, and definitely, like I said before, I give y'all my Instagram. Throughout the videos, I'm going to give you my Instagram and my email after. So definitely, if you have some ideas, even if you have feedback, no matter what it is, negative, positive, whatever, definitely hit me up. I'm not above that. I'm not one of these dudes that that I know everything, that I'm perfect. So I definitely want to hit y'all with that first. So definitely hit me up. Give y'all my disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a sociology major. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist or any of those things in any of that terminology. I'm just a person that's been through a lot, has some experiences that I would love to share, and that's what this YouTube channel is for. That's what this page is for. So let's get right into it, y'all. Today's episode is gonna be about relationship anxiety, or things that you need to get right before you get into a relationship. So that's what today's episode is about. I talk to people constantly about relationships. Reason why is I've been in, a couple relationships. I've been in longevity relationships. I've been engaged. So this, that, and the third. So I have, somewhat. I think I have somewhat knowledge of, what may work in a relationship, what may not work in a relationship. There's still things that you always need to learn. So I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? Get what I'm saying? So I just want to put that out there. But I feel I am of liberty to talk about certain things like this. So the first thing I feel that you should do before you get into a relationship to alleviate relationship anxiety is be complete. You may not be all the way complete, but be complete to a certain extent, meaning that they say the saying goes that, you can't love you. If you don't love yourself, you can't love anybody else. And that's the same, it's pretty much the same thing for completion. You have to be complete in order for you to be able to complete somebody else or to compliment somebody else. One of my homeboys always says that, a woman and a man should compliment each other. And that's one of the things that, makes the relationship work. And I truly believe that, I think it's one of the most truest things that has ever been said, when it comes to a relationship. Besides the typical relationship is work, you need to work, blah, 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 both parties need to work equally. But what I'm saying is, you want to be complete. One of the things that I feel like people don't do enough of when, let's say for instance, they break up with somebody or whatever the case may be, I feel like they don't get accustomed to their own energy. Meaning like the energy of doing normal things. Like, let's say for instance, get accustomed to, being by yourself, or doing things by yourself, because in a relationship, you're so used to doing everything with another party. So when you get out of a relationship, you're kind of lost because you're like, I feel like no matter what the time frame of the relationship, you're kind of lost. So what you need to do is get into, the habit of, going out by yourself. Maybe go to the movies by yourself. Well, pre-pandemic, go to the movies by yourself. I did it, when I had a crazy breakup a couple of years ago, and in that time, I just got accustomed to myself. I got accustomed to going to the movies by myself. I got accustomed to going out to my favorite restaurants by myself. I got accustomed to doing things by myself, going to, the skating rink by myself, along with working out. I gotta get back into the gym and stuff like that because I have goals for myself. But do that. Like, these are all things that I did. I figured out certain things that I liked. I figured out doing, things that I want to do. So what that does is it starts to, revitalize your energy within yourself. It tempers that love, and props that love up that you should have for yourself, and you start to realize it more and more, and then you start to complete yourself. Because the thing is, you're never going to be able to get into a relationship, a healthy relationship, shall I say. You'll probably be able to get into many relationships, because anybody can get into a relationship, but there's a difference between getting into a relationship and getting into a healthy relationship. You're not going to have a healthy relationship when you're not healthy within yourself. You're not healthy within the love frame that you need to have for yourself. In some cases, you need to love yourself more than you love somebody else. I'm totally for that. I want my woman to love herself more than anything else, because if she loves herself more than anything else, I know the love that she gives me is going to be pure. I know the love that she gives me is going to be relentless. I know the love that she gives me is not going to be underestimated. It's never going to be underestimated. I'm going to know that. So we get into a disagreement, I know that love is going to trump everything else. So that's why you want to be complete. That's why you want to, in other words, love yourself to the highest extent. Because, there's a lot of things that, and then when you do that, there's another thing. And I'm going to say this for the women, because I hear a lot of times women say that, they've never met a guy that loved them enough, or whatever the case may be. Or it's hard for them. I've even had women say, it's hard for me to gauge if a man truly loves me to a certain extent. So it's like, when you love yourself enough, you don't have to worry about that. You're so secure with yourself that somebody else loving you, or the level of extent loving you would nip that in the bud right away. So this is why you want to complete yourself, because it actually brings your mind, loving yourself brings your mind to a pure place where you can see bullshit. You can identify bullshit and you can nip it in the bud. So you definitely want to complete yourself. Like I said before, the steps that I said before, learning how to go out and be alone, and not being lonely in the sense, because loneliness is something that you definitely have to overcome, in order to be in a great situation. So what you want to do is you want to be in the situation where, you can, be complete in order to complete and be in a healthy relationship with somebody else, or compliment somebody else. That's all. The second thing is you want to know the framework of a relationship. You're never not learning new framework for a relationship, because every relationship that you get into is different, whether it be your relationship with your family, relationship with your friends, or relationship with your significant other or potential significant other. When you go back into the dating scene, you must know certain things before you actively get into a relationship. One of those things is that I'm a firm believer in this, there are three parties on each side in each relationship, in a relationship. So there are three parties, I'm gonna say that for you again, there are three parties on each side in a relationship. Meaning that on one side, there's your relationship, there's the person's relationship with God, their relationship with themselves, and then their relationship with their significant other. On the other side is their relationship with God, their relationship with themselves, and their relationship with their significant other, with you. So it's very important. So the relationship with you kind of goes back into that first point I made of trying to be complete so that you can complement your potential significant other. That's your relationship. You have to, like I said before, I went through the steps and what you have to do and what you should do, and getting accustomed to loving yourself. Your relationship with God, here's the thing, right? My pastor, the beloved Pastor Ron, rest in peace to the Most High, to the GOAT. I believe. But he used to say this. He used to say this to me all the time when I used to come to him about different issues, about just where I'm at in life, or I'm having problems, or whatever the case may be. He always used to say to me, Chris, open your mouth to God. God is more joyful than ever to hear you intercede with him on your behalf. He loves to hear that. He loves to hear you, going to work for yourself with him. And ultimately you're working with him. So basically what I mean is, like, I've said this on numerous occasions to previous women I've dated. And one of the things is that I know is that if I'm in a relationship and, I know that spirituality has to be a part of my relationship because I'm a spiritual person. I'm not knocking anybody who's not, but I'm a spiritual person. So what that means is I'll always say that if I'm serious about a woman, my relationship with God has to be the most important thing in the relationship, because if it's not, everything else is going to fall apart. So I always say, I have a saying that I say, my prayer has to be the loudest prayer in the household, because I'm the head, not the tail. And I'm not saying that in a chauvinistic way, but in the Bible it does say a man is the head, not the tail. So what that means is it wasn't meant in a chauvinistic way. It was meant to say that, my relationship with God is not the most important. It has to be one of the upper echelon things in the relationship, because if I can't allow God to lead me, I cannot lead my household. I cannot lead my relationship. So that way, you have to have that. Now, on the flip side, for a woman, behind every great man, there is a great woman. So in that case, you have to, your relationship with God, a woman's relationship with God is equally important, because at the end of the day, you want to be Proverbs 30. When a man, if a man finds a good woman, he finds a good thing. He finds a great thing, actually. You want to be that. So your relationship with God has to be of the utmost importance, or your relationship with whatever you worship. So if you're Buddhist, if you're, you're just somebody who just believes in spirituality, your relationship with the universe has to be of the utmost importance. Your relationship with something of the universe has to be of the utmost importance. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I say that is part of that is being in a situation where, one of the parts of the three is you having your relationship with the universe or your relationship with God. And it's equal. I don't want it, but it is what it is. A man is the head, he's not the tail. Bible says so. I believe, in my belief, and then that, it's not a misogynistic thing. It's just what it is. The second thing is, like I said, but the third thing, because like I already discussed your relationship with yourself, the third thing is that your relationship with the other person. And that's why it was very important for me to discuss the completion of yourself in order to complement the others, because you have to realize that, and it's been said before, that relationship is work. It's always changing. It's always finding new ways to love your partner. It's always doing this. In order for you to be able to do that and be of the right mind, you have to have those other two things. You have to go through those other two steps. You have to have those embedded in your lifestyle, meaning that you have to have a healthy relationship with God. You have to have a healthy relationship with yourself. And if you have those two, 9 times out of 10, it's very hard not to have a healthy relationship with your other partner, unless your partner is not doing those things just like you. So the third thing is actively help each other to make a healthy and safe relationship. You have to do that. So what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, the other person is not doing one of the two things, or they're not working on themselves and trying to love themselves, because you can do that in the confines of a relationship, or they're not just working on their being one with the universe or being one with God. it's your job, if you want, especially if you want to be with that person, to give some effort and attempt to, help that person or lead that person in that direction. You can't make them, but you can do things that help them lean in that direction. A lot of times we get into this mood where we feel like if somebody doesn't do what we tell them to do, it's an issue. They don't respect us or they don't love us, and it's not that. Sometimes people have to move on their time. And I say it all the time. Our steps are ordered. Our steps are definitely ordered. So sometimes when people, and I feel like I get into this a lot with people, because they expect they're like, Chris, you need to do this at this time, blah, 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 this and the third. It's not for you to say. It's not. It's for me to be comfortable and to know that God is telling me to move now. Me to move when he tells me to move. And some cases, when the universe tells you to move, that's when it's time. So we can't get into that. And love is patient. A big part of love is patience. So you have to be patient with that person when, let's say, for instance, they're not doing something that you really want them to do. You think that is pivotal. I'm getting tongue tied. Pivotal in your relationship. You know what I'm saying? Sorry. But yeah, basically, that's what you want to do. So, your relationship with each other is based on the respect level and also the patience that you give each other, and also knowing that everybody's steps are ordered. Having faith in that your steps are ordered with each other if you feel you found your soulmate or found the person that you want to be with for the rest of your life. So you're going to have to practice patience. You're going to have to practice all these other things. And know that, if God is involved, your steps are going to be ordered right towards each other. The third thing I want to say is, when you get out of a relationship, I don't think all of us do it, because sometimes we're all wrapped up in who ended the relationship, if you got cheated on, or if you did the cheating, in some cases, being in denial about it, right? There's a level, I feel like, when you end a relationship, there's a level of denial in everything. So what I'm gonna say next is to kind of alleviate that before you get in a relationship. That's know your toxic behavior. Some of us are toxic and we don't even know it. I have toxic traits. I'm gonna keep it all the way funky with you. I'm not gonna go into it, but I have toxic traits. And one of the things is, I know what my toxic traits are. So what I do is I actively, when I'm in a situation with a woman, I actively go back to these things, and I actually write these things down, especially if I like the woman. I write these things down and I'm like, yo, this is not what I want to bring to the table. This is not what I want to bring to the table. This is not the energy I want to give out. So, I pray about it, and then that's it. And then I try to alleviate it, I try to let it go. And then when I do identify that, I'm doing what I wrote down and what I didn't want to do, I sit there and it gives me the opportunity to chill and just be like, you know what? Chill out, Chris. Don't do that, because it may trigger something in her that, brings out something toxic about her that maybe she's trying to get over. So one of the things is, you want to get over your toxicity. You want to get over your toxic behavior. But the first thing you have to do is you have to know what you do that's toxic. A lot of times, one of the things that you can do is try to go back into your memory base, go back into an argument that, let's say, for instance, with somebody that's close to you, or even ask somebody that's close to you. Ask one of your homegirls, ask one of your homeboys, ask a family member, ask your mom, ask your dad. Like, yo, what is it that I do that you feel is a detriment to me, that could have been the part of, one of the pieces of the downfall in my last relationship, or any of my relationships. Ask. It's good, because people on the outside can tell you a lot about you from the outside, because you're on the inside, so you don't see what they see. You don't see yourself outside of your shell, So that's why it's good to ask other people, you know. And then what you could do is, and then sometimes when you have toxic behavior, because there's habits that all of us have as human beings that we know that we do to maybe get a rise out of somebody, to maybe get the type of reaction that we want out of somebody, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. We do that, you know. So that's why, you know, I don't believe in saying that I didn't know I was toxic. You know, I think everybody has some type of toxicity or toxic behavior within themselves. And you choose, either you choose to realize it or you choose not to, you know. So, but one of those things that you want to break down is you want to break down that toxic behavior. Whether it be, you know, like I said before, I'm a firm believer. With me, God is at the head of my life. So, you know, I actively ask God to take away my toxic behavior. You know, if there's a woman I like, hey, God, please don't let my toxic behavior get in the way of this thing. Please allow me to, you know, be able to hone that, you know, get rid of it, or at least tame it, so that way I can be able to, you know, have a healthy, you know, back and forth with this woman, you know, in any type of situation. That's what it is. So what you want to do is you want to nip that in the bud. But the first thing, in order to nip in the bud, you have to realize what you need to nip in the bud. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's what you want to do. You want to break down your toxicity. Ask yourself, actively ask yourself, yo, what am I doing that's toxic? And what in regards to my friendship? What am I doing that's toxic in regards to my family? What am I doing toxic? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because 9 times out of 10, if you're doing something toxic with your sister and brother, and it's a toxic behavior within your relationship, or it's a toxic behavior in a relationship with you and your best friend, or whatever the case may be, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna do it in your relationship. Because you know why? If you're in a relationship for a certain amount of time, for a length of time, your partner becomes your best friend. That's how it is. With my ex, she was my best friend. At that time, she was my best friend, because at the end of the day, we, you know what I'm saying, you shared everything together. She's seen me at my lowest. I've seen her at her lowest, so on and so forth. So that's what it is. And that's how you have to, but you know what I mean? So you see me referencing my ex. In order for me to get into my next relationship, I have to realize, you know, that there were certain toxic behaviors on my part as well, no matter what the main reason of, you know, the downfall of the relationship was. There's things that I could have done better, and there's toxic behaviors that, you know, maybe if I would have reversed it, maybe it would have made the relationship work. And the same thing on her end, like, you know what I mean? So that's what it is. So that's what you want to do. You want to get rid of toxic behavior. Lastly, I'm gonna make the point, and I'm gonna keep it short. You want to be done with that last relationship. Be done with it. The easiest way, and I'll mention this in the second episode, the easiest way and the hardest thing is it's not the easiest, but the hardest thing that you have to do is, no matter what, forgive your ex. Forgive him. Forgive him. Because at the end of the day, if you can't forgive, you're never going to be able to forget. You're never going to be able to get to the healing process. So do that before you actively get into a relationship. Forgive that person. Try to forget whatever it was, because move on. A lot of times we get into the situations and we be like, oh, I forgive you, but I don't forget. What is that doing? You might as well not even forget the person, because you're going to keep thinking about it constantly. I feel like that's an active way to, you know, basically give you an out with trying to mature and trying to get rid of your toxic behavior. Because that's a toxic behavior. I feel like it's a toxic statement. Forget and let it go. Move on. That's all, y'all. So yeah, that was our relationship anxiety episode. Basically, like I said before, like and subscribe. Holla at me in my DMs, YFG Hollywood. That's my Instagram name. Definitely holla at me. If you have any feedback for me, hit me, send me a link in the comments below, comment, whatever the case may be. The link is in my bio to my YouTube channel, and my link to my episode every week is in, it's going to be in my comments. I release a video, a preview video every week before my episode releases every Friday. Friday, 10 a.m. Holla at your boy. Every week, I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping till I get 1 million subscribers. I'm not. And from my mouth to God's ears, thank you. Like and subscribe. Send to 10 people. Put 10 people on this work. And I will be back next week. 10 a.m. every Friday. You know the vibes.